From Miami's first light to its night glow, we craft stories that move. You're watching Terrell Clayton Media.
Hey, what up, man? So how you doing, sir?
Okay, yourself, sir.
All right, good. So what do you think South Africa is like? What do you think it look like?
I think it's maybe a culture of black people that just get along with each other. And I think it's just a laid-back atmosphere. You know?
Now, this one is going to be interesting to me. I love this one because those who really know me know that I'm kind of fiery when I want to be. And I think I have been very passive. So mic check. We got a great lesson for y'all today. I posted a video a while back, the one you just seen, right? And it was when I first touched back in US. And I asked one simple question. What do you think South Africa's like? And I got a response. So, you know what's wow? That I make one video, one simple statement, one honest question, and suddenly in the entire comment section turned into a global meeting of the minds. South Africans showing up, Americans chiming in, people correcting, debating, arguing, educating, all in the same room. And I sat there reading these comments thinking, this is exactly what we need this is exactly why we need these conversations. So, because a comment section will tell you more about people's worldview than any textbook, any documentary, any headline. Because people aren't governed by that. People just say how they feel. And before I go any further with this, before anybody try to twist it and say what they think I'm trying to say, let me be very, very, very clear in my approach and my words today. And I'm gonna say all this with my chest. I'm American. I live here. I love here. Right? I built my life here. My daughter grows up here. My kids grow up here. My family here. My money is earned here. My opportunities came from here, America. I'm not somebody who hates a country, not anti-American, not anything that you want to try to paint me or anybody else that speaks truth, right? I'm someone who understands it. But I also have a home in South Africa. I spend real time there. You know, I have many friends, my boy Linda, that I have there. I walk those neighborhoods, I know my neighbor. They help me out when went through load shedding a couple things. I sit with families. They have great meals. I support communities. I invest financially and emotionally, and I fight for black people in both places, right? And so I teach people in both places, y'all, and that would make my perspective different. I'm not talking from just one side of the ocean. I'm not one of those IG people that never been anywhere and they just sit there and they just talk about what they think or what somebody else has said and they're regurgitating this. I'm standing in the middle with both feet planted on two different continents, and that's what shaped who I am, and that's why I could be able to have this conversation with y'all today. So let me talk about what I saw in those comments, because the energy was loud, passionate, defensive, proud, irritated, honest, and very, very real. One comment say, why does he have to explain this? Let Americans stay in a bubble. And the crazy part, that wasn't shade. That was truth. That was his truth, right? And that was a lot of people's truth, because America, as beautiful, power, and opportunity filled as it is, it raises people inside of a bubble. You learn America. You learn Europe. You learn a very limited version of slavery, and then that's it. And if you think I'm lying, I want you to just take a moment and I want you to really think about that. I want you to challenge yourself and say, is Terrell lying to me? Did I learn something different? So the world stops a lot of times at the borders of what the textbooks decided what was important. Africa, forget it. We didn't learn anything about Africa unless it involved either a safari, some type of famine, or a villain in the Disney movie, right? What I think about, like Jafar and Aladdin. Nobody taught us about the African kingdoms. Nobody taught us about the cities, the politics, the intellect, right? Africa's diversity, Africa's complexity. No one taught us that South Africa is not Africa, right? It's a unique country within the massive continent. Like, think about how crazy that is, right? So, of course, Americans are surprised, or were surprised by things South Africans consider normal, right? It's not stupidity. It's just, honestly, it's just conditioning on our part, right? In the comments, I found people were defending their heritage. They were saying things like, South Africans never sold slaves. No, the video did not pause. The video did not stop. I'm just letting y'all really think about, you know, the knowledge that we have about history and what happened. That right there is where nuance entered the chat, right? Because I can tell you, and a lot of people know, that Africa is not one village, it's not one people, it's not one culture, it is not one story. You know, different regions had different histories, right? South Africa history does not look like West Africa history or North Africa history or East Africa history, but Americans love to generalize because honestly, that's what we were taught. You know, we are taught a lot of times to be able to just paint a whole broad stroke or paint a whole country, you know, like the president said, you know, a boo-boo hole country or ish hole country, you know. You know, that's what happens, right? We paint the whole continent with one brush, oversimplify it. We make one big monolithic identity, so we never learn the real stories. And when you do that, when you never learn the real stories, you erase the truth of millions of people in the process. And South Africans that was writing those comments, they weren't denying history. They were denying the idea that their history matches everyone else's, and they deserve to have that distinction respected, right? Then poverty came up. Oh boy, poverty, right? Let me tell you something. What I learned, man, this is the one. What I learned is that Americans love talking about African poverty, like as if America don't have entire cities where kids can't even drink clean water. Flint, excuse me, did I say that out loud? Poverty is not a culture. Poverty is not an identity. Poverty is not a personality trait of a nation. It's not. Poverty is many times an outcome of systems. What I learned is that South Africans live in a country where inequality is very, very visible. But that doesn't necessarily define who they are. I got a lot to say on this one, y'all, and I just want y'all to be able to stay with me because, you know, I want to be able to unpack a lot, okay? Because a lot of things bother me, and I really want y'all to be able to see, like, set the record straight for both sides. Like I say, poverty is an outcome of systems, and South Africans live in a country where inequality is very visible, but that doesn't define who they are. In America, live in a country where poverty is hidden behind skyscrapers and billboards, but that doesn't erase the pain right here at home either. So when people in the comment threw poverty at each other like an insult, I sat here thinking like both sides are really missing the point. And I know that y'all are probably about to run to that short and run to that video and look at all the comments, but hold on, don't go nowhere. Just stay with me. Just stay with me, y'all. I promise you, because the reason I want y'all to stay with me is because I don't think a lot of people are realizing that we are fighting different versions of the same monster. But let me shift this conversation to something deeper, because this right here sits in a part of my chest that just won't go away. This is the part where America and South Africa share, whether they admit it or not. What do we share, y'all? The emotional pain. A black emotional pain. the pain that can't be quantified, the pain that you have to be black to understand, the pain that, you know, whether you have black friends or whether you grew up in a black neighborhood or whether, you know, you try to fight for black rights, you really can't understand it because it's just not part of your pain, right? It's a kind of generational, systematic, psychological pain that both countries process different, but both countries really capitalize on. So I want y'all to take a moment and I want y'all to think about Hollywood, right? Think about which movies win Oscars when they tell our stories. All right. It's always the trauma. Is Precious. Think about the role that Monique played in that movie, right? Think about how much of a monster she was in that movie. 12 Years a Slave. Think about how much pain was in there. Is the Django, right? I think it's just Django, right? With Jamie Foxx. He was the hero in that movie. But think about the movies that won Oscars. It's always rape. It's abuse. It's chains. It's humiliation. It's brokenness, right? They reward our pain. They applaud our suffering. They hand out trophies when we cry. They hand out. When our pain is on front and display, that's when we really are applauded. When we scream, when we break down, when we get beaten down, when Hollywood knows that trauma sells, right? And trauma wins awards. Trauma is packaged, promoted, and praised. But where are the awards for black joy, black happiness? Where are the awards for black brilliance, unity, love? Where's the awards for black love? My goodness. Black futurism, besides Black Planet. I mean, not Black Planet, but Black Panther, right? Black families healing instead of breaking. Notice that's rarely celebrated. They don't elevate that. They love us as victims, not visionaries, right? And that does something to us. Over here in America, we just don't experience our trauma. We gotta relive it every award season, right? Every time that, you know, people get dressed up, that's when we gotta relive our trauma. We relive it every February, Black History Month. We relive it every time our stories are reduced to pain for entertainment, for simple entertainment. And in South Africa, their trauma didn't end centuries ago. You know, apartheid wasn't yesterday. Honestly, apartheid ended in 1992, 1994. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, right? I know Nelson Mandela got named president in 1994. You know, that was just a few years ago. I mean, I was still alive. The wounds are still fresh. The psychology is still in the air. The general, the generational trauma is still unfolding. Different system, same intention. Break the black mind, break the black family, break the black identity, break the black economic engine. And so when Africans and African Americans argue about who had it worse, all I hear, and it's so stupid, all I hear, who had it worse? Think about how stupid that is. All I hear is two people in the same burning house debating on which side of the house is hotter. Both. Hell, both of us are hot. Both of us are burning. Like, what you think? I don't compare pain, you know? Pain is pain. Trauma is trauma. Wounds are wounds. Are we really going to sit here and try to compare who had it worse? Who's an FBA? Who is a federal foundational black American? What Islander, you know, deserve this, and what this person don't understand our fight? I don't care. Pain is pain. And what I do acknowledge is that our fight is global. Our wounds show up differently, but they come from the same place, and that's why I read those. I read those comments differently, right? I didn't see arguments. I saw two branches of the same global family trying to explain their story. So, was it miscommunication? Yes. Ego? Sometimes. Pride? Most definitely. But underneath all of that, pain. Shared pain. Inherited pain. Generation to generation. Pain we didn't create, but pain we keep getting asked to perform for other people's entertainment. All right, so let me say this again, y'all. Every time y'all see me having this discussion, I'm always drinking on my tea because why, it's herbal. It come from the earth, right? And so this is a brand that I've always been drinking on, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the Amazon link so y'all can be able to follow. This is one of our sponsors, Setsong tea. You can be able to check them out on Amazon. Click, put in BRICK as the promo code, and we're gonna go ahead and make things happen. I appreciate y'all. Let's stay healthy together, fam. I'm not anti-American. I'm not anti-South African. I'm not anti-African. I'm not anti-African, the Africa diaspora, right? I'm anti-ignorance. I'm anti-arrogance. I am anti-superior, right? I'm anti-stereotype. I'm anti that tone that often Americans carry, right? Not intentionally, but out of conditioning. We really got it bad, man. We really got it bad, We really got it bad. And this is not a conversation about who can feel sorry for themselves the most. I'm just acknowledging what's really going on, how people feel, and just talking about the elephant in the room. The conditioning that we have, it makes them believe that they are the standard for humanity. That mindset right there is the bubble, right? The moment that you leave that bubble, y'all, the moment that you travel, the moment you sit with people who grew up outside of the American culture, that's when you realize how much you were never taught. And that's not a reason to be ashamed, right? That's a reason to grow. I love America. I can say that I'm sitting here recording this, and I'm standing on the grounds of Miami, Florida, in America, my birthplace, the place that I learned everything that I know. This is my home, right? But I also love South Africa. And the moment that I stepped on the soil, the moment that I seen the bright lights, the people, the energy, all the things that went on, I fell in love, right? That is my home too. And I know that my voice, right, Terrell Clayton, my voice can help bridge. That if my voice can help bridge even a fraction of the misunderstanding between these two worlds, if I, Terrell Clayton, can help Americans learn without being defensive and help South Africans feel heard and not assaulted, then that is the role that I'm going to play. I'm not choosing sides. I'm talking. I'm educating. I'm bringing things to the forefront. I am both. I represent both. And I fight for people on both sides, not just South Africa, but Africa, the people in Brazil, the black people in Brazil, the black people in London, the black people in the islands, all of those places. Because if we stop arguing long enough to learn, if we stop arguing long enough to listen, long enough to see each other clearly, we might finally realize the world has been dividing us for centuries. And maybe, just maybe, we're finally at a point in history where we can stop letting that happen. Because it's not fair. So, with all of that said, if anything in this message touched you, sit with it. reflect on it. All right. And is a reason that, you know, I always put these thoughts out here. I want you to share this. I want you to share these thoughts because honestly, I'm done living in bubbles. We're done living in bubbles. We're done applauding, performing. We're done performing for trauma. You know, we're done letting stereotypes dictate our story. Today, we tell the truth, or at least I tell the truth from both sides of the ocean. And if y'all like this, if y'all appreciated this, and y'all want to be able to learn how to be able to do anything about it, comment, share, reach out to me. Let's have a real conversation about what the hell is going on. Because I can be able to tell you, we're powerful, we have the resources, we have the intellect, and we are a community, you know? And that's one of the things that I always try to be able to share in the Patreon group. It's not just about going out there and oh well, we're going to teach wealth and we're going to teach money. Of course we're going to do that. You know, we need money to live. We need money to be free. But we're a community that builds together, and we're a community that learn together and understand each other. So join the Patreon. I appreciate y'all. Like, share, review, go back and look at the old video, and I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you again for tuning in to Terrell Collective Media. Until next time. Empire. So when he throws out $8 trillion, he's not just talking about cars, he's talking about ecosystems. And I can tell y'all this, the fact that the board actually approved that,